I used to be a junior high pastor and a public speaker, so good luck with that. I thought, well, let me share. I've been coming here, I don't know, a year and a half. You're gonna have to ask how long Paul White's been suffering with me coming. But I've been coming here for about that amount of time, and I thought I'd talk a little bit about that. Paul White asked me at first, hey, do you want to come to my church? And I thought, sure, but I need to know something about it first. So he said, well, we're located right where Beverly turns, Plymouth. And I went, oh, I've been there tons of times. I've driven by, Joe, I've driven by underneath the speed limit, just to let you know. But I've driven by tons of times. And I was like, that would be great. So I asked him, I said, well, what time does church start? 10 a.m. Well, I can do that. Well, how long is the service? We're usually done around 11:30. I can do that too. Because, let me tell you, my mother-in-law, she goes to a church that starts at 8:30 in the morning and ends at 1:30 in the afternoon. And I'm like, if I'm going to be going somewhere that long, I need to see coffee and food because I need supplies during that time. And then my father-in-law used to go to a church where they all wear fancy hats. And I know Paul White has no fancy hat to loan to me, so I thought, okay, I'm in the clear. He said it's pretty casual. I thought, okay. So I go ahead and I come here and I'm like, hey, dress code's pretty cool here. I think I can get into this. I'm seeing shorts. I'm liking this. I'm seeing flip-flops. I'm liking this. I'm seeing a pastor that wears no-show socks. I'm really liking this, okay? This is pretty good here. So I thought, sure, I'll attend a few more times. So I'm attending, I'm having a great time, and then comes communion. Okay, I don't know if you know, but for anybody who's a new person or a visitor to a church, and it's their first communion at that church, it can be a little scary. And there's a reason why, because back in the old days, church communion wasn't the same as it is now, and that's because of physics. See, when things are room temperature, they tend to be a certain size. But when things get chilled, they contract. And then when they come back to room temperature, they expand. So let me explain why this can be a little bit harrowing. When you set up communion cups, the little shot glasses, when you set those up, you fill it with grape juice. And usually that gets refrigerated, which means all those little plastic cups get contracted. And then you bring them here, and they sit through the service while Brent's preaching with no-show socks. And then afterwards, you go to take communion. But a lot of those cups are going to be lodged into place. And I'm thinking, oh no, I am not going to be the person walking down in the front, trying to grab that, finally getting one out, throwing grape juice on the church carpet, and then having to go to drum prison, because that's what that's got to be. I don't know what you do wrong, but if you're in drum prison, I don't want to do that. Fortunately, I made it through the first communion. Okay, great. About 2 weeks later, I'm here at church, and I asked Sam Cooperstein, hey, I need to use the restroom. Where do I go? And he said, let me know where to go. And I went, okay. Now, I don't know if you're aware of this, but churches don't have the best reputation when it comes to restrooms. It's the kind of thing like when you're driving to Barstow and you realize you really, really have to go. And you see some gas station out off the freeway, and it used to be an Arco station 25 years ago, but now it's value gas, and you're just hoping that you can make it there and come out safely. And it's kind of one of those things, actually, when you do come out, you have a tear coming out of your eye, and you're just please drive. So I thought, okay, who knows? So I go to open the door, I hold my breath first, because whenever you're going in a church bathroom, you need to hold your breath. That's a tip. So I go ahead and I open the door, and I'm like, oh, this has been remodeled. Like really remodeled. Like, it's got neutral colors, it's got LED lighting in the bathroom. I'm like, okay, this is really, really kind of cool. And then, the thing that just made it complete, 2-ply toilet paper. 2-ply. I'm home. I am home. Now, that was a boys' restroom. Ladies, I don't know what your restroom is like, but just saying, we have it pretty good. So, that's been my experience here. And I will say, before I wrap up, I am the number 3 racquetball player in this church. And how do I know I'm that? Because I've played 2 people so far. Thank you.